Do you know what the official language of the United States is? If you answered English, you're not alone. But you'd be wrong. And so would I. For whatever reason, the framers of our Constitution didn't want to include an official language in the document. So today, more than 200 years later, we find ourselves in a position where English is used in 95% of government proceedings. But legally speaking, it is not the national language. It's kind of weird. If you live outside the US, this probably seems even weirder. Like, why wouldn't you want to have an official language? In fact, most countries do have one. But that doesn't mean there aren't other countries out there without an official language. The US is actually one of 6 countries that don't have one. The other 5 are Australia, Canada, Finland, Malaysia, and the UK. We'll get to why the US doesn't have an official language in a minute. But first, let's quickly go over how language works here in the US. Because while English isn't the official language, it might as well be. That's because 32 states have declared English as their official language. These include big states like California and Florida and Texas. In fact, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, since 1990, 23 states have passed laws making English the official language at the state level. So you might be thinking, well, if English is the predominant language in all those states, then why aren't people speaking other languages? Well, that's because for decades, laws like these haven't really changed much. The movement to declare English as the official language at the state level started, gaining steam in the 1980s, and since then, more states have done it, just to be sure. But the reality is that English was already the dominant language in all these states long before these laws were passed. Which brings us back to the start of this video. Why doesn't the US have an official language? Well, it comes down to what the founders intended when they wrote the Constitution. See, the framers wanted to make sure that no one religious or cultural group would have more power than another. And at the time, the largest ethnic group was made up of people who spoke English. So if they had included English as the official language in the Constitution, it would have basically given that group more power. And that's not what they wanted. In fact, the only reason that English is used in government proceedings is because it was simply the dominant language of the time. Thomas Jefferson said it best in a letter he wrote in 1783. He said, quote, "A strict adherence to the English language will, I believe, be one of the main anchors to keep the two nations together." No, too. He said, "It is impossible that the true spirit of the Constitution could have been that of a narrow and exclusive nation. When we meet together, therefore, on the ground of a common interest, let us forget that we are an exclusive people. Let us not shut our doors against those who seek to be with us. No. 3, he said, if we remain what we are and do not retrocede into an arrogant nationalism, I believe the United States will give great satisfaction to every reasonable mind." So basically, the founders wanted the US to be a melting pot of cultures, and an official language goes against that. Instead, they left it up to the people. They believed that if English was truly the best language, then that's what people would naturally gravitate towards anyway. But I'm not a historian, so take that with a grain of salt. The point is, English wasn't included in the Constitution, so it never became the official language. And as far as changing that now, well, it's not impossible, but it's unlikely. Every few years you'll see a bill surface in Congress trying to make English the official language. Most recently, H.R. 997 was introduced in 2021, but these bills never go anywhere. In fact, they almost always die in committee. One of the most recent ones made it out of committee, but it died in the Senate in 2015, and it's unlikely that anything will change anytime soon. Not only is it unlikely because of the political climate, but also because English is already the de facto national language. So why rock the boat? And besides, this is America. If you don't like the language, just speak Spanish, or French, or Chinese, or any other language you want. Just don't expect the government to translate for you. I'm your host. Thanks for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next video.